Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. Today, inshallah, we will start a new topic which is lungs. Everybody knows that we have a pair of lungs which lie on each side of the mediastinum. Mediastinum is the area in which the heart and great vessels lie. There are two lungs on each side, right lung and left lung. Okay, we have revised the lines of the pleural reflection before in detail. Only the difference of the line of reflection of pleura and lung is that the inferior border of the lung and pleura, okay, only the inferior border of the lung and pleura. Lung is about 2 ribs above the pleura. See here in this diagram, the blue lines are the lines of the pleural reflection and the red line is the line for the lung. So what happens actually? The lung is 2 ribs above the pleura. It is at 6th rib in the mid-clavicular line, 6th rib, but the pleura was at the 8th rib. Then it will be at the 8th rib in the mid-axillary line, but the pleura was at 10th rib. Then on the sides of the vertebral column, the lung will be above that. It is at the level of 10th rib, but the pleura was at 12th rib. So difference is only in the lower border or the inferior border of lung and pleura. The difference is about 2 ribs. The lungs are about 2 ribs above the pleura. Lungs are at 6th rib at the mid-clavicular line, 8th rib at the mid-axillary line, and 10th rib on the sides of the vertebral column. So you have to revise the pleural reflection lines and the lung reflection line. I will revise again. Lung is about 2 ribs above the pleura. Okay, now see here in this diagram. This is left lung and this is right lung. Okay, the right lung, okay, this is the line of reflection of lung, and below this is the line of reflection of pleura. So this right lung is divided by 2 fissures. See here, these are 2 fissures into 3 lobes. This is very important. The right lung is divided by 2 fissures into 3 lobes, but the left lung is divided only by 1 fissure into 2 lobes. The upper lobe is called as superior lobe or the upper lobe, and the lower one is called as the lower lobe or the inferior lobe. But in the right lung, the upper one is called as superior lobe, middle one is the middle lobe, and the lower one is the inferior or the lower lobe. Again, I will revise. Right lung is divided by 2 fissures into 3 lobes, and left lung is divided only by 1 fissure into 2 lobes. The names of the fissures in the right lung are oblique fissure. See here, this is oblique fissure, and there is horizontal fissure also in the right lung. But in the left lung, there is only 1 fissure, that is oblique fissure. There is no horizontal fissure in the left lung. Now, what is the surface marking of these fissures? See here, the oblique fissure of the lung extend of both lungs, the right lung and the left lung. They will extend from the level of spinous process of T2 vertebra posteriorly, T2 vertebra posteriorly to 6th costal cartilage anteriorly. These 2 points are very important. I will revise again. The oblique fissure will extend from a point which is at the level of spinous process of T2 vertebra posteriorly to the level of 6th costal cartilage anteriorly. It will be same in the right lung and the left lung, but there is an additional fissure in the right lung which is called as horizontal fissure. The horizontal fissure of the right lung extends from the oblique fissure. See here, it is meeting with the oblique fissure along the 4th rib. See here, along the 4th rib and costal cartilage anteriorly. See here, anteriorly. I will revise again the surface marking of the fissures. In the right lung, there are 2 fissures, oblique fissure and horizontal fissure. Oblique fissure extends from the spinous process of T2 vertebra posteriorly to the sixth costal cartilage anteriorly. The horizontal fissure will meet in the line of fourth rib and fourth costal cartilage. It will meet with the oblique line posteriorly and it will extend anteriorly in the line of fourth rib and fourth costal cartilage. There is only one fissure in the left lung, which is oblique fissure. Lungs are usually soft and spongy and very elastic. If the thoracic cavity were opened, the lungs would immediately shrink to 1/3 or less in volume. In a child, the lungs are pink, but with age they become dark and mottled because of the inhalation of the dust particles that become trapped in the phagocytes of the lungs. Now, this diagram, see here, this is trachea. Trachea will be divided into two bronchi. These are primary bronchi or principal bronchi. Because we have two lungs, so there are two bronchi, two principal or primary bronchi. Now here on this side they have shown the normal lung. See here, this is the normal lung which is bounded by two layers of the pleura. The outer one is called as the parietal pleura and the inner one is called as the visceral pleura. Similarly, the lung is bounded by two layers of the pleura on this side also, but this is collapsed lung. Okay, this is collapsed lung due to pneumothorax. Now see here, you can see the image of ribs outside. Can you see the image of ribs? So the side which is underneath the ribs is called as costal pleura. The side of the pleura which is above the diaphragm is called as diaphragmatic pleura. Okay, and the side of the pleura which is on the side of the mediastinum is called as mediastinal pleura. The example of pleura is just like a balloon. See here, if we push our fist in the balloon which is blown up with air, so what will happen? Our hand is just like a lung, and the two lines of the balloon, they are just like the two lines of the pleura. The outer line is called as the parietal pleura, which is continuous with the visceral pleura at the hilum of the lung. See here, so it will be continuous. This is lung, so it will be continuous only at the hilum of the lung. Okay, and at the hilum of the lung or the root of the lung is bounded with something, but all other sides they are free to move. Okay, so this was a diagram in which we have studied that the lungs, they are bounded by two layers of pleura. Now, one lung lies on each side of the mediastinum. See here in this diagram, this is the mediastinal area in which the heart and all great blood vessels lie. Each lung is conical in shape with visceral pleura attached only in the mediastinum, only at its root, and suspended free in its own pleural cavity. Now, you know this thing that lung has a blunt apex. Okay, just like pleura, we have studied that pleura has an apex, pleura has a base, pleura has a costal surface, pleura has a mediastinal surface. That was about pleura. Now we are discussing lungs, so all these things will be present in the lung also. Okay, because pleura was the covering of the lung. Okay, so lung has an apex. See here, this is an apex which project upward into the neck for about 1 inch, that is about 2.5 centimeters above the clavicle. This is apex of the lung. Number 2, there is a concave base of the lung. The base sits on the diaphragm. This is the base. See here in this diagram also, this is the base or the inferior surface or the diaphragmatic surface. Number 3, there is the costal surface. See here, this is the costal surface which corresponds to the concave chest wall, and there is concave mediastinal wall. Can you see the medial part of the lung? This is called as mediastinal surface because it is molded to the pericardium and other mediastinal structures. Again, I will repeat, in this diagram, we have studied the apex, we have studied the base, we have studied the costal surface, and we have studied the mediastinal surface. At about the middle of the surface, there is hilum. Hilum is a depression in which the root of lung attaches. The structures that enter or leave the lung, that is the bronchi, pulmonary artery, veins, lymph vessels, bronchial vessels and nerves form the root of lung. All these structures will form the root of lung. The root is surrounded by a tubular sheath of pleura which joins the mediastinal parietal pleura to the visceral pleura covering the lung. So we have discussed it many times that at the root of the lung or the hilum of the lung, the two layers of pleura, they are continuous with one another. See here, this is mediastinal pleura. Okay, the outer one is the parietal pleura and inner one is visceral pleura. So they are continuous with one another at the hilum of the lung. Again, the same diagram. These are lungs. See here, this is apex of lung. This is costal surface. Here it will be the base or the inferior surface or the diaphragmatic surface. Okay, and this one is the mediastinal surface of the lung. Mediastinal surface of the lung. This is the pericardium, which is the covering of the heart. Okay, now see here, along with the apex and all these surfaces, there are two borders of the lungs. Okay, anterior border is very sharp, and there will be posterior border also, which will be rounded. Along with the anterior border, it will extend down on the base and it will be present at as the inferior border, which is also very sharp. So anterior border will go and form the inferior border, and there is a posterior border also. Again, the same diagram. This is the mediastinal part. Okay, the pericardium, which is covering the heart. This is the apex of the lung. Okay, this is the costal surface of the lung. This is also the costal surface. This is diaphragmatic surface or the inferior surface or the base. And this is the mediastinal surface of the lungs, which is related with the mediastinum. See here, the right lung is divided by two fissures. This is oblique fissure and this one is horizontal fissure into three lobes, the upper lobe, middle lobe and the lower lobe. And the left lung is divided only by one fissure, which is oblique fissure into the upper or the superior lobe and the lower or the inferior lobe. There is no horizontal fissure. In the lungs, we have anterior border, we have inferior border, and posteriorly we will have a posterior border also. The same thing is written here. The anterior lung borders are thin. See here in this diagram, the anterior lung borders are thin and overlap the heart. The cardiac notch is a concave indentation of the anterior margin of the left lung. See here, this is a cardiac notch, which is the indentation of the anterior border of the left lung that leaves the anterior surface of the heart relatively exposed. Now see here, this is a projection which is coming from the anterior border of the left lung. This projection is called as lingula. Lingula is a word which comes from the word tongue. So lingula is the tongue-like projection of the anterior margin of the left lung that extends from the inferior end of the cardiac notch. The posterior border of each lung is thick and lies beside the vertebral column. Again, I will repeat. See here, this is apex of the lung. This is anterior border of the right lung. This is inferior border of the right lung. Then there will be one posterior border also. The right lung is divided by two fissures into three lobes. This is upper lobe, this is middle lobe, and this is lower lobe by two fissures. This is oblique fissure and this is horizontal fissure. On the left side, we have apex of the lung. We have anterior border of the lung, which will have a cardiac notch here, and there is one tongue-like projection which is called as lingula. This is anterior border. Then there will be posterior border and inferior border also, which is resting over the diaphragm. So, how many lobes are there? There are three lobes in the right side and two lobes on the left side by two fissures on the right side and one fissure on the left side. Now, the right lung will have the two fissures, horizontal fissure and the oblique fissure. And the left lung is having only one fissure, which is oblique. This is the revision, and I am revising all these points again and again. So these are the names of the fissures written in this column, and these are the names of the lobes which are written in this column. Upper can be called as superior, middle is middle, lower can be called as inferior. In the left lung also there are two lobes, upper is called as superior and the lower is called as inferior. Okay, so this is superior lobe. See again, this is superior lobe, this is middle lobe, and this is inferior lobe by two fissures. This is horizontal fissure and this is oblique fissure. On the left side, this is superior lobe, this is oblique fissure, this is inferior lobe, this is cardiac notch. Very clear here, cardiac notch, and there is a lingula, which is a tongue-like projection which is present below the cardiac notch or at the end of the cardiac notch in the anterior border of the left lung only. Left lung only. Now, each lobes of the lungs, they are divided into several bronchopulmonary segments. Bronchopulmonary segments. Typically, the right lung has 10 bronchopulmonary segments and the left lung has 8 to 10 bronchopulmonary segments. In some books, it is written that the left lung has 8 bronchopulmonary segments, but in some books, it is written that it has 10 bronchopulmonary segments. So, if the right lung has 10 and left has 8, so there will be total 18 bronchopulmonary segments, but there can be 10 in each lung, so there can be 20 bronchopulmonary segments. What are bronchopulmonary segments? The bronchopulmonary segments are the anatomic, functional and surgical unit of lung. These are separate units of lung. If there is any disease which is present only in one segment, that will remain in that segment only, and only that segment can be resected surgically. So it will not spread to the other segments. Okay, again I will repeat. The right lung has 10 bronchopulmonary segments. The left lung has 8 to 10 bronchopulmonary segments. And what are bronchopulmonary segments? They are anatomic, they are functional and surgical unit of lung. The main characteristics of the bronchopulmonary segments are as follows. It is a subdivision of a lung lobe. For example, see here, this is the upper lobe, but that upper lobe of the right lung is divided into 3 bronchopulmonary segments. So it is a division of a lung lobe. Each bronchopulmonary segment is pyramid in shape with its apex toward the hilum of the lung. Each bronchopulmonary segment is surrounded by connective tissue. It has 3 defining components. There will be a segmental bronchus in each bronchopulmonary segment. Segmental bronchus is called as tertiary bronchus also. I want to tell you some points. See here, this is trachea. It is divided into 2 principal bronchi or the primary bronchi because there are 2 lungs. Each primary bronchi will divide into secondary bronchi. Secondary bronchi are actually lobar bronchi. So we know that on the right side we have 3 lobes. So there will be 3 secondary bronchi. But on the left side we have 2 lobes. So there will be 2 secondary bronchi. These secondary bronchi, they are called as lobar bronchi. Number 1, primary bronchi, which are also called as principal bronchi, which will divide from trachea because of 2 lungs. There are 2 principal bronchi. Then each principal bronchus will divide into secondary or the lobar bronchus. In right side there are 3 lobes, so on the right side there are 3 secondary bronchi, but on the left side there are 2 lobes, so there are 2 secondary bronchi. Each secondary bronchus will divide into segmental or tertiary bronchi. There are 10 segments on the right side, so there will be 10 segmental bronchi on the right side, and if there are 8 to 10 segments on the left side, so there will be 10 segmental or tertiary bronchi on the left side. So each bronchopulmonary segment will have 3 main contents. What are they? Number 1, segmental bronchus. I have told you the segmental or the tertiary bronchus. They are formed by the secondary bronchus. Number 2 component is segmental artery. Segmental artery will be present along with the segmental bronchus, and there is intersegmental vein which is located in the connective tissue walls between the adjacent bronchopulmonary segment. I will revise again. See my cursor. I am moving it along the bronchopulmonary segment. This is one segment. In this segment, segmental bronchus is present, segmental artery is present, but segmental vein will be present along its wall, through which it is separated from the other bronchopulmonary segment. So the segmental vein will be present here. Intersegmental vein will be present in the wall between the adjacent bronchopulmonary segment. Each bronchopulmonary segment will have its own lymph vessel, own autonomic nerve. Because this is a structural unit, a diseased segment can be removed surgically. Again, I will repeat. See here, we have two lungs. So we have two primary bronchi. We have 3 lobes on the right side and 2 lobes on the left side. So we have 3 secondary bronchi on the right side and 3 secondary bronchi on the left side. Then we have 10 bronchopulmonary segments on the right side. So there will be 10 segmental or tertiary bronchus for every bronchopulmonary segment on the right side as well as on the left side. If there are 8 to 10 bronchopulmonary segments on the left side, so there will be 8 to 10 segmental or tertiary bronchi on the left side. In each bronchopulmonary segment, the contents will be: number 1, segmental bronchus; number 2, segmental artery; number 3, lymph vessels; number 4, autonomic nerves. But the intersegmental vein will be present in the adjacent wall, the wall which is surrounding each bronchopulmonary segment, or the wall which is separating one bronchopulmonary segment to another bronchopulmonary segment. See here, the main bronchopulmonary segments are as follows. In the right lung, we have 10 bronchopulmonary segments. 3 bronchopulmonary segments are present in the superior lobe. One segment is called as apical segment, another is called as anterior, and there will be a posterior segment also. In the middle lobe, we have 2 segments. See here, this is medial segment and this is lateral segment. Then in the inferior lobe, we have 5 bronchopulmonary segments. One is called as superior, which is also called as apical. Then there will be medial basal, anterior basal, lateral basal and posterior basal. Basal because they are present on the base. Medial, which will be on the medial side. Anterior, which is on the anterior side. Lateral, which is on the lateral side. And posterior, which will be over the posterior side. But all these 4, they are present on the base, so they are called as basal. And one will be apical because it is at the apex of the inferior lobe. Similarly, in the left lung, because there are 2 lobes only, so 5 segments in the upper lobe and 5 segments in the lower lobe. Apical, posterior, anterior, superior lingular and inferior lingular, because they are present in the lingula. They are present in the lingula. Then in the inferior lobe, there will be superior, medial basal, anterior basal, lateral basal and the posterior basal lobes, posterior basal bronchopulmonary segments. All these are the names of the bronchopulmonary segments. 10 segments on the right lung, 10 segments in the left lung. 10 segments in the right lung are present in 3 lobes, but the 10 segments in the 10 bronchopulmonary segments in the left lung, they are present in the 2 lobes. Okay, these segments are numbered 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 like this in surgery, because they will see that if there is carcinoma or if there is any other problem present in bronchopulmonary segment number 2, so they will resect the segment number 2, or in 3 they will resect the segment number 3. Like this, they will resect the particular numbered segment. Okay, so but in anatomy we do not learn these numbers, we learn only the names. So these are the names which are written here. Okay, so learn what you have to learn in lung. You have to learn the apex, you have to learn the surfaces. How many surfaces are there? Costal surface, mediastinal surface, diaphragmatic surface. Then there is posterior surface also, which is vertebral surface, which can be a part of costal surface. Then question number 3, how many borders are there? So there are 3 borders, anterior, posterior and inferior border. How many lobes are there on the right lung? There are 3 lobes. How many lobes in left lung? 2 lobes. How many fissures on the right side? 2 fissures. How many fissures in the left side? 1 fissure. How many bronchopulmonary segments in the right lung and how many bronchopulmonary segments in the left lung? So we have discussed all these things. Okay, so you have to revise all these things. Now I have told you the respiratory tract or whole tract which is formed. Okay, number 1, there is trachea. See here, can you see the trachea here? Trachea. One trachea will divide into 2 principal or primary bronchi. Why into 2? Because there are 2 lungs. So 2 principal or primary bronchi. Each principal or primary bronchus on one side, right side or left side, will divide into, according to the lobes, it will divide into 3 secondary or lobar bronchi on the right side and it will divide into 2 secondary or lobar bronchi on the left side according to the number of lobes, 3 on the right and 2 on the left. Then each secondary bronchus on the right side and the left side, they will divide according to the number of the bronchopulmonary segments. That's why they are called as tertiary bronchi or the segmental bronchi. So there are 10 tertiary bronchi on the right side and 10 tertiary bronchi on the left side. Now, these tertiary bronchi or the segmental bronchi will divide again and again. They will divide up till 20 to 25 generations of branching conducting bronchioles. Now, the tertiary bronchi will convert into bronchioles that eventually end as a terminal bronchiole, which is the smallest conducting bronchiole. You should know that there are 2 types of bronchioles. One are conducting bronchioles. Conducting means only they are conducting the air up till the respiratory bronchiole. And when the respiratory bronchiole will start, this is the respiratory part and the conducting part also, but mainly this is the respiratory part where the exchange of gases will take place. So again I will revise. There is trachea, 2 primary bronchi, 3 secondary bronchi on the right side and 2 secondary bronchi on the left side, 10 tertiary bronchi on the right side and 10 tertiary bronchi on the left side, then many terminal bronchioles on the right side and many terminal bronchioles on the left side. Terminal bronchiole is the last conducting part of the respiratory system. Respiratory bronchiole is the first respiratory part of the respiratory system. The bronchioles lack cartilage in their walls. You will study it in histology. Conducting bronchioles, which are the terminal bronchioles, they transport air but lack the glands or the alveoli. The terminal bronchioles, they do not have the glands, they do not have the alveoli. But when the terminal bronchioles will divide up to several generations, they will form respiratory bronchiole. They will form respiratory bronchiole, which are characterized by scattered, thin-walled out-pocketings which are called as alveoli that extend from their lumen. The pulmonary alveolus is the basic structural unit of gas exchange in the lung. This alveolus is the basic structural unit for the gas exchange. See here, they have shown one alveolus here. It is for the gas exchange in the lung. I hope you have understood all these tracts. Again, trachea, primary or principal bronchi, secondary or lobar bronchi, tertiary or segmental bronchi, then terminal bronchioles, then respiratory bronchioles, and which will form the alveolar duct and alveolar sac and alveoli. The pulmonary alveolus is the basic structural unit of gas exchange in the lung. Due to presence of alveoli, the respiratory bronchioles are involved both in the conducting part, that is the air transportation, and gas exchange also, which is the respiratory part. Okay, each respiratory bronchiole give rise to 2 to 11 alveolar duct. We have reached up till the respiratory bronchiole. See here, we have reached up till the respiratory bronchiole. So the respiratory bronchiole will give rise to 2 to 11 alveolar ducts. See in this diagram, this is respiratory bronchiole. This one respiratory bronchiole will give rise to 2 to 11 alveolar ducts. There will be alveolar ducts. Each of the alveolar duct will give rise to 5 to 6 alveolar sacs. Alveolar sacs. Alveolar ducts are elongated airway densely lined with alveoli, leading to common spaces which are called as alveolar sacs, into which the cluster of alveoli open. New alveoli continue to develop until about age 8 years, by which time there are approximately 300 million alveoli. See here, this is one bronchopulmonary segment. I have told you in one bronchopulmonary segment there will be one segmental bronchus, one segmental artery which is a branch of pulmonary artery, and intersegmental veins will be present in the connective tissue walls which are present in between two bronchopulmonary segments. So these are the contents of the bronchopulmonary segment. Again, I will revise from the segmental bronchus. Segmental bronchus, which is the tertiary bronchus, will divide into terminal bronchiole. Each terminal bronchiole will divide into respiratory bronchiole. Respiratory bronchiole will give rise to alveolar sacs. Okay, first of all, they will give alveolar ducts, then alveolar sac, and then alveolus. These are the alveolus, which is the main part for the exchange of gases. Everything is written here. Each secondary bronchus which passes to the lobe of lung to form the second segmental bronchus. Segmental bronchus passes to a structurally and functionally independent unit of the lung lobe called as the bronchopulmonary segment. In the bronchopulmonary segment, pulmonary artery will give a segmental artery branch and a segmental bronchus will be present. It has its own lymphatic vessels and autonomic nerve supply. But the segmental vein, which will drain in the pulmonary vein, it will be present in the wall in between two bronchopulmonary segments. It will not go inside the bronchopulmonary segment. Inside the bronchopulmonary segment, four structures are present. Number 1, bronchus. Number 2, segmental artery. Number 3, lymph vessels. And number 4, autonomic nerves. When we will call it bronchiole, when it is about less than 1 millimeter in diameter. Bronchioles will have no cartilage in their walls and they are lined by the columnar ciliated epithelium. All these things you will be reading in histology. Same thing is written here, terminal bronchiole, it will become respiratory bronchiole. The diameter of the respiratory bronchiole is about 0.5 millimeter. The diameter of the terminal bronchiole was 1 millimeter or less than 1. Then it will become 0.5. Then there will be alveolar ducts, alveolar sac and alveoli. A rich network of blood capillaries surround each alveolus. What is the main function of alveolus? Gaseous exchange. Okay, see here. This is one alveolus. This is one this is one alveolar sac. Okay, one alveolar sac having many alveoli, and each alveoli will have many capillaries. Okay, many capillaries will be present. The functional flow pattern within each bronchopulmonary segment is as follows. Air enters and leaves. See here, this is the bronchus. So what will happen? Air enter and leave the center of each bronchopulmonary segment via the segmental bronchus, which will form the bronchiole, terminal bronchiole and respiratory bronchiole. Then the deoxygenated blood enters the center of each bronchopulmonary segment via the segmental artery. Can you see this blue colored artery? Why this is blue colored? Because here the deoxygenated blood is present, so it is blue in color. It is carrying deoxygenated blood, although this is segmental artery, which is a branch of pulmonary artery. Oxygenated blood, after coming from the alveolus, it will leave the bronchopulmonary segment via the intersegmental vein. Okay, this is the intersegmental vein, red in color. Why this is red? Because it contains oxygenated blood. This vein will drain in the pulmonary vein. These veins will be present only in the connective tissue wall, which is present in between the bronchopulmonary segments, but the artery will go inside in the bronchopulmonary segment. This is the diagram for the alveoli. See here, this is one alveolus. Okay, there are many alveoli, 300 million alveoli which can be present. So this was the first part of the lecture. Inshallah, I will make the second part also, which I will post tomorrow.